see, it's in there.
Brother Bear 2 is actually really stupid. I don't remember the characters being so dumb and making so many bad decisions when I first saw this back in 2006. Although to be fair, I was a dumb glue-eating 12-year-old with no taste in film back in 2006, so what do I know? Now I remember actually watching this movie back when it first released, and again, being a dumbass with no taste in film, I thought it was fine and didn't think too much about it after that. But after seeing what you guys wanted me to review next, I decided to put it on again, and boy howdy, these characters are dumber than a snowman standing outside a monsoon. Sweet! It's actually kind of amazing how stupid both this world building and these characters can be sometimes. There are times when the characters just do whatever the hell they want without any real logic or thought put into it. There are times when the world doesn't make any sense. Like, where are the characters from the last movie? Where's Kenai's brother Denahi? Or the original Shaw woman? Like, why aren't they in this movie? I mean, Sitka's dead, he has an excuse, but it still doesn't make any sense. I'll go more into this later, but you get what I mean. Now, before we talk about this movie, I guess it makes sense to get my thoughts out on the first Brother Bear movie to help give some context on my thoughts with this film. I'm not making that mistake again because people are still giving me shit about that in the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review. And yes, Claire is still hot garbage. They had like one scene in the first Jurassic World film that suddenly makes Claire care about the dinosaurs. Like, that's nowhere near enough. And then suddenly she's like an active member of PETA in the next one?
Get the fuck out of here.
Brother Bear 1 is probably the most forgettable film Disney's ever made. It's right up there with movies like The Aristocats, and Black Cauldron, and Oliver and Company. You heard me, Brandon. It just has that all-around mediocre feeling about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a few redeeming qualities here. The animation is fantastic, but that's Disney's specialty, so that's expected. The score is actually really nice, and the beginning of the movie is actually pretty good. Yeah, the first 15 to 20 minutes is actually pretty solid stuff. Everything up to when Kenai turns into a bear was really promising, but everything after that is just kind of bland, typical adventure stuff. I do like how the brother Denahi is kind of the main obstacle in the movie, but he's not really a villain per se. He's just a character that's really confused. That's actually kind of rare to see in Disney films. Usually the bad guys in Disney films are straight up super evil, super bland, or both. I also do like how the movie does end with Kenai deciding to stay as a bear. They don't just fix this movie 100% and just have Coda live with Kenai in the village or something. That'd just be stupid. Kenai staying a bear actually shows him living up to his totem that he was chosen for in the beginning of the movie, and it does show how much he actually grew as a character. Kenai does actually have a solid character arc throughout the story, it's just that it's such a bland story to begin with. Everything after the first 20 minutes is pretty standard road trip adventure movie fare. They come across annoying comic relief, get bogged down and distracted with stupid shit that has nothing to do with the story, and don't even get me started on the Phil Collins songs. Now, I actually really like the Phil Collins songs from Tarzan, fuck you Doug, but the songs here are so bland and uninspired. Along with that, but they don't even really add much to the story as a whole. Now sure, you can argue that the songs do the same thing in Tarzan, but at least the songs in Tarzan are actually fun to listen to. But here, they're just boring and at times even ruin the movie to a certain extent. Take the scene where Kenai is finally telling Coda what happened to his mom. Now, there's actually a deleted scene that shows us how the scene would have played out without the Phil Collins song.
That the great spirits came down. There was all this wind and lights, and they pulled him up, way up into the sky. And when he came down again, he'd been changed into a bear.
Whoa!
Coda, I did something very wrong.
What'd you do, Kenai?
I killed a bear.
I don't like this story.
Coda, your mother's not coming.
No.
I didn't know, Coda.
No.
I swear I didn't know. Coda!
Why was this version cut? It was so much better! The acting in this movie was pretty good, and this scene was genuinely kind of gut-wrenching. But no, we need the Phil Collins song because it was so good in Tarzan, so it can't possibly be bad here. No way! That's another thing about Tarzan. Sure, the Phil Collins songs are played overhead to help progress the story instead of the character singing it, but at least they don't just play a song over top an emotional moment. Like, could you imagine if they played a Phil Collins song over Kerjak's death?
Take care of them. 'em. 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 '
I mean, it was just annoying at first, but after discovering the deleted scene and seeing what it could have been, it genuinely kind of pissed me off. I don't know, maybe the producers thought the scene was too heavy for this kids movie, but come on, fuck you, it's a good scene, a really good scene in fact. Coda is really annoying. I really think he needs to learn to shut the fuck up. I get they were going for that annoying kid, but usually whenever Coda talks, it's often about things that are completely irrelevant to the plot. I think this scene with Kenai sums it up perfectly.
Enough with the stories. I don't care about the time you and Binky found, the world's biggest pine cone ever.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Coda, if you're gonna run your mouth forever, then at least give us something funny or useful to listen to. Steven Universe was a much better written annoying kid character. An annoying character's goal is to annoy the other characters around him, not the audience. Usually the charm often comes from the kid's playful personality, or of them trying to help a situation and accidentally making it worse. Coda makes things worse, but it's not really fun. It doesn't flow in the same way Russell does when he finds Kevin, or Steven when he accidentally releases a gem monster. But hey, give Coda some credit. He's not the moose, sisses, Mises, mooses, mouses, or whatever. Bottom line, I hate them. They're annoying, obnoxious, are relatively pointless to the story, and frankly are kind of assholes. It's like when the movie is about humans, it's interesting, solid, and fun to watch. But when it's about the animals, it just feels really lame and not fun to watch. There's a lot of modern talk in this movie too. They use words like dude and totaled a mammoth. It's like Love Monkey. It's just really dumb dialogue that completely ruins the immersion. Again, the humans don't talk like that, but the animals do. If the whole movie was just about the people, then Brother Bear would have been a really solid Disney film. But instead, it's mostly just annoying, at times even insufferable, but mostly just forgettable. Which is a lot more than I can say about its sequel, because boy howdy is Brother Bear 2 stupid. So the movie starts off pretty basic at first. We see all the old characters from the first movie show up and do their usual thing. And by all the old characters, I mean just Kenai and Coda for now. And to a lesser extent this guy. Why does the Michael Clark Duncan bear get a cameo, but Denahi and the original shaman from the first movie isn't even mentioned here? Trust me, it becomes an issue later. So later that night, Kenai has a dream about a childhood memory he has where he hung out with this girl named Nita. Huh, I'm gonna need a lot of aspirin by the end of this movie. Oh my god. I'm actually crying for that one. So Anita falls into the water and Kenai saves her, and instead of taking her back to the village, or her village, wait, are they a part of the same tribe or not?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
So instead of taking her back so she can, not die from hypothermia, they go to some random waterfall. I mean, sure, he's able to start a fire and all, but why would he do that? I don't care if he's 8 years old. If he's smart enough to be able to start a campfire, then he should be smart enough to take Nita home before she freezes to death. Is it because they were too far away from home? Actually, it turns out they were! It takes our main characters 3 days to get to that waterfall in this movie. Sure, they're all bogged down by a bunch of side crap, but it's still implied that the waterfall is pretty far away from Nita's village. Why are these 2 8-year-old kids out in the wilderness, so far away from home, all by themselves with no parental guidance? If the first 20 minutes of the first movie taught me anything, it is to not go out in the woods without other people around. But whatever, we now see Nita as an adult who is about to get married to someone that she doesn't even know because, customs, tradition, religion, blah 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 blah, all that bullshit. And we'll bring this up later, but then God literally splits the two apart because God's all like, yeah, I'm gonna need a good reason to let you two get married. This is gonna be a fun one. So Nita decides that she needs professional advice and goes and sees the Wanda Psych Shaman. I am not even kidding.
They say that in all the tribes, you are the wisest shaman.
Shaman, okay? Wise and man don't even belong in the same sentence.
Where's the other shaman? The one from the first movie? The one that wasn't painfully stereotypical and unfunny like this one is? Where is she at? Also, aside from the obviously different location, this pretty much confirms that Nita is not from Kenai's tribe. If that's the case, then how in the hell do they even know each other? Did they both just decide to run away that day and just bumped into each other? Because if that's the case, that would have actually been really cute. But since this movie is apparently allergic to actual thought, Nita and Kenai just know each other despite being from different tribes with no real explanation. Look, I'm not against them knowing each other, I just like a little more backstory than they were kids and they played together once. So the Shaw Woolman tells Nita that she's already been destined for another. Kenai, who gave her an amulet as a gift for not drowning, is the one she's supposed to be married to. But in order to change a fate, she and Kenai must burn the amulet together at the same waterfall on the night of the equinox. Hey, didn't the first movie do the same exact thing with the equinox and messing with the gods and changing your fate? I think this movie's very original. Now, one thing I want you guys to remember is, they know that Kenai has been turned into a bear. Again, I want you to remember this because it will come back to bite this movie in the bare bottoms. Get it? Because it's about bears.
Kenai? But he's a bear!
Yeah?
Well, even if I find him, how will I talk to him?
I think a better question is, how do I walk up to Kenai without him mauling my face off? They have no idea what Kenai is like nowadays. He could be a full-on rogue bear now for all they know, and despite them knowing he's a bear, again, this is not Kenai's village. So I'm not going to just assume that they know that he's cool. Also, how do they even know that he's a bear in the first place? Do they get letters? Did they have, like, carrier pigeons back in the Ice Age days? How would they even know this to begin with? I know it may seem like I'm overthinking this whole thing, but all of this bullshit could have easily been fixed if you just had Nita and her father be a part of Kenai's tribe in the first place. Why not, instead of just some random dude that we don't even know, how about instead, Nita was set to marry Denahi. The two were also friends when they were kids, and all of them played together along with Sitka. Now, like in this movie, Kenai's amulet would split them apart, and the two would have to travel together to find Kenai. Now, along the journey, Nita would start falling in love with Kenai, and this would lead to some seriously interesting drama between the brothers. Again, that would have made for a much more interesting story than the one that we got. So, just assuming that Kenai won't murder her due to animal instinct, the Shaw Woolman gives her the ability to moan very loudly. She then heads off by herself to find a bear. Again, she does not know that Kenai is cool. This could easily kill her. And for those saying that I am taking this way too seriously, when Nita does find Kenai, he attacks her! Ha! I was right! Kenai could have easily killed her here if he suddenly just didn't recognize her. Now look, I'm not saying that I want her to die, I'm just saying, honestly, she probably should have died here. So yeah, Kenai doesn't maul her face off, and Nita tells him that they need to burn his little trinket. Understandably, Kenai is a little upset about having his little trinket mocked.
It's no big deal. It's only a little trinket.
Little trinket.
Aw, come on, Nita. It's not that little. The gods didn't think so. But then little Coda shows up and reminds me that a nail in my penis wouldn't be the worst pain in the world.
So you're Nita. Kenai was just dreaming about you.
I was not.
Was too. You should hear him. Nita, Nita.
I'm gonna need a weapon so I can shut this little bitch up. So Nita convinces Kenai via guilt tripping, and the three decide to head to the waterfall after all. Along the way, we meet Pissant 1 and Pissant 2. What really hurts about these two is just how much these two are such stupid assholes who are only looking for boner feed. And if you think these two idiots are bad, just wait until you see what I do next time. This movie dedicates an entire subplot around these two plural moos who are just looking to get some. I swear, about 1/5 of this entire movie is revolved around these two idiots, and if you think I'm exaggerating, keep in mind that including the credits, this movie is only 73 minutes long, and yet they have the time for this stupid crap that isn't funny, isn't entertaining, and it's literally just filler in a movie that's a lot shorter than it actually feels. The only reason our main characters decide to humor these assholes and their asshole desires is because we have to have something happen to the amulet, and instead of having something rational happen, like, say, being attacked by wolves or some bullshit, let's just have Kenai pretend to be the vicious carnivore that he's actually supposed to be. Quick question, why doesn't Kenai just eat these assholes? Bear eat moose, right? Look, I don't care that they're friends. These two are assholes. Fuck them. Nobody would miss them. I wouldn't. You wouldn't. Disney wouldn't. So the moose fuck up because they're fuck ups, and this leads to Kenai getting stuck inside of... Nita drops the amulet in the water and suddenly has a Vietnam flashback to the time where she almost drowned and begins freaking out. The amulet falls down a waterfall where it is then stolen by Jim Cummings.
Thanks a lot, Kenai.
What did I do?
This is all your fault.
My fault?
If you hadn't stopped to help those
Whoa,
moose,
whoa. And I'm not the one who had the bag in reach and then let it float away. My head was stuck. What's your excuse?
Her excuse is that you wanted to help those two dumbasses get laid when it wasn't even any of your business. You didn't even get to eat them. Sorry, I'm with Nita on this bullshit. This is all Keena's fault.
What am I gonna do now? If I can't burn the amulet, I'll never be able to marry Atka.
Why does Keena look surprised here? He knows why she's doing this, right?
They won't let me get married until it's destroyed.
Let me think about this. Sorry, can't help you.
What? Also, anyone notice how we still don't know anything about who this guy is? Who the fuck is Atka? Oh, just some asshole who doesn't matter? Yeah, okay. Why should I give a shit about this forced marriage if we don't even get to know who she's marrying? Look, I don't care if it's an arranged marriage or whatever, if they don't even end up together, but I'd like a little, anything. Give Hans from Frozen credit. We at least got to learn about him before he suddenly turned all evil in the last 15 minutes, all because the writers wanted to pull a Ryan Johnson on us. So needing to get the amulet back, Nita climbs the tree while Kenai deals with the open season ripoff. Yeah, 2006 really liked armies of small forest creatures inhabiting the trees and throwing shit at people, didn't it? It's funny how I talked about Tarzan earlier in this review, because after Nita gets busted, it's actually hilarious how much this part here steals from the baboon chase scene from Tarzan. So after escaping the raccoons and getting the amulet back, the super surprising thing happens and Kenai and Nita begin to get along again. It's a bland-ass adventure tale. I think you guys can figure out where this is going. You bet your asses we're going back to the asshole mooses.
We're still getting a brush off from those moosettes.
Yeah, they seem immune to our rugged good looks, eh? Yeah. So we thought we'd appeal to their olfactory senses.
Ew.
I got news for you, little brother. That wasn't mud.
Well, good. Maybe it'll match your shit personalities. So Nita offers a woman's touch on the matter because in this movie, no means try harder. And they decide to use Coda to help the mooses get some. Why do I feel even dirtier than the mooses right now while watching this? They're literally using a child all to get laid. Again, about a fifth of the movie is dedicated to this subplot. So despite being caught before trying to fool the girls into getting with them, this actually works. And the moosettes kinda like them now for some reason. But the younger moose brother has like a panic attack, and the older moose brother just ditches his little brother for that sweet, sweet moose pussy. That sweet, sweet mussy. You guys think I'm just being mean, but no, these guys are really just dumb assholes. They were assholes in the first movie too, and here it's no different. I know the movie is just writing it off as these two just trying to find some love and stuff, but A, the moosettes are literally just these two characters gender swapped. It's like a really lazy fan fiction. B, the mooses need to learn how to take no for an answer. And C, the moosettes are treated as nothing more than prizes for these two assholes to win in the end, which they do later in the movie anyway. So we finally move along with the plot, and Coda almost dies.
Besides, I'm always careful. Ow!
Now I realize there's so much more to learn.
Like I said, almost dies. As in, yes, it is a problem he did not die. Nita ends up falling into the water by accident, and Kenai finally learns the truth about her PTSD and her fear of the water. This is one of the few kind of good scenes in the movie. I do actually like Nita and Kenai's chemistry together. The two do have a decent setup for a story arc, and I'm totally on board with them falling in love with each other. But again, it's just that opening is still so confusing. Again, all of that could have totally been avoided if Nita and her father were a part of Kenai's tribe from the very beginning. Next, we get that super cliche montage of the two main leads falling in love with each other because that's how it works, right? You can fight throughout the entire movie, and then suddenly you have one little montage, and suddenly you're perfect for each other. Just suddenly. I get that they were childhood friends, but this kind of writing is so old and so tired, even by 2006 standards. Throughout this little montage, Kenai and Nita end up ignoring Coda. Now, normally I'd be fine with that, but wasn't Coda the main reason why Kenai decided to stay as a bear? Doesn't Kenai ignoring his little brother make him just a bit unlikable? I know it's done on purpose so we can have a thing about it later on in the movie, but it just feels like something Kenai wouldn't do. Like, at all.
There's
so much more to feel. My heart knows it's real. Part of me so long forgotten is calling.
Look, if Cars 2 has taught me anything, it's that good animation is pointless if the story is shit. As for the song playing over top of it, it's fine. I don't hate it, I guess, and it's not obnoxiously ruining the scene like Phil Collins' songs did. Oh, fuck off, E!
Shall I compare thee to a summer's dew?
Did you just make that up?
Beauty, eh?
He's such a poet.
You were literally there when the other moose said it! What the hell? You know what? I'm just gonna say it. All moose are assholes. Like, I don't care if that's bias. It's just my opinion. All moose are officially assholes. So we then get another actually kind of nice scene with Nita and Kenai, and it ends with Nita asking Kenai if he'd want to turn back into a human, with Kenai answering that he has indeed thought about it. Coda overhears this and jumps to the conclusion that Kenai is going back with her. And Kenai and Nita just let Coda go, and we never have to worry about him ever again. At least that's what a competent movie would do. The two then split up and Nita finds him hiding in a cave, Coda makes some noise, and the movie perpetuates the myth that noise does in fact cause avalanches. I mean, it's not like Kenai would know you let him go, and even if he did have his suspicions, he wouldn't be able to prove it. Oh yeah, Kenai would have totally found them in time before they suffocated. But I don't care that he's a bear and he has a strong sense of smell. He'd still have a lot of ground to cover and not a lot of time to do it. Yeah, they're dead.
You're going back with her, aren't you?
You're my brother. I'll never leave you. Not ever.
I mean, it's not like this movie is one of the worst of the Disney sequels, or that it's even that incompetent. There are actually a lot of good things with this film. The animation is really good. In fact, it might actually be the best out of all of the Disney sequels. The acting is good, it's well paced, and there is potential to make this at least a decent story. It's just bogged down by stupid, cliched crap. Really, the only problem with this movie, outside of asshole moose syndrome, is the story and script. But yeah, those are really huge problems, and it's made even more infuriating when all of this could have easily been fixed with a few minor tweaks here and there. Have Nita and her father be a part of Kenai's tribe. Have Denahi and the original Shaw woman be in the film. Have Denahi travel with his brother and old childhood friend, and have both brothers start developing feelings for Nita on the way there. Don't be afraid to take some chances. Make the story interesting. Nope, I'm done with these moose bitches. Fuck them. So Nita, Kenai, and Coda make it to the waterfall and burn the amulet, but it looks like they may regret that decision. Gosh, I wonder why. So the spell that allowed Nita to talk to animals wears off, and now Nita has to travel back home all by herself with no weapons and no help. Yeah, good luck with that. Fuck you! Come on! It took everybody 3 days to make it to that waterfall. Now granted, they kept getting sidetracked by stupid bullshit, but it's still a pretty far walk from what we've seen so far. And Nita just makes it back unharmed? No wolves, no other bears, no bloodthirsty raccoons looking for vengeance after Nita took the amulet back from them? Nothing? Bullshit. Yeah, good luck looking after your daughter, Dad. So now let's take a look at the one part that really made me mad. The ending. This ending is so fucking convoluted and stupid, and it's actually kind of impressive how dumb it is. It literally feels so forced and rushed because we gotta have that Gaston versus the Beast kind of fight for the finale, right? So Coda realizes that Kenai loves Nita and goes into the man village to bring Nita back. The villagers try to capture Coda for some reason, but Kenai comes in and saves them. Now, remember earlier when I said that these people know that Kenai turned into a bear? Well, here's where it becomes a problem. No, I don't expect these people to just look at it and realize, oh wait, that's Kenai. That part comes after the fight. So, Kenai saves Coda, but that Adka guy is so freaking determined to kill this bear despite it no longer being a threat to the village, and the two have their Gaston versus the Beast fight. But here's the thing, we don't know a damn thing about Adka. He's just some random asshole. Again, imagine if this was Denahi, then this would be genuinely interesting to watch. Also, Kenai has no idea who this guy is. He doesn't know who Adka is, so there's like no weight to this fight at all. This fight's only happening because every movie has the two guys who like the girl end up having a fight with each other, hence the phrase Gaston versus the Beast fight. I don't even think Atka does love Nita. For all we know, he's just going along with this for tradition's sake too. But because it's the cliche, we have to have them fight each other, and because this movie doesn't care about Atka's side of the story, he'll get a cheap shot in and supposedly win, and is then unfairly labeled as an asshole. Like, he didn't freaking know! He thought he was protecting the village! I mean, granted, he could have stopped chasing after Kenai a long time ago, but again, we only had Atka chase after Kenai for the sake of the cliche. But still, how the hell was he supposed to know? I know Kenai is a bear, but I mean, wouldn't a bear die from a fall like that? I'm just asking because I want the movie to be over faster, okay? So Nita goes over to Kenai's side, and here's where they confess their feelings for each other. But then the spirits show up, and Nita gets the bright idea to change into a bear herself so that they can be together. Now, I'm not against this per se, but Nita's father is a little too accepting of this. This guy is just super okay with his daughter marrying a bear.
You are my daughter, and I will love you no matter what you choose.
Sure, he knows that's Kenai, but I mean, seriously, dude, just ask one question first. You really want to break our traditions to go fuck in the woods with a bear? Yes, Daddy. Eh, whatever. I wasn't in this movie enough to make an impact anyway. So Nita is turned into a bear, and there's this really dumb fucking wedding where both humans and bears come together in harmony. Bull fucking shit. Given their dedication before, it can only be assumed that this tribe hates bears. And even then, if I were Kenai, I wouldn't want any humans at my wedding after what just happened. There was no apology, no peace treaty signed or nothing, and the biggest insult of all, his brother wasn't there for his wedding! What the fuck?! There's also the fact that Atka is nowhere to be seen. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I were in his shoes and I lost my bequeath to a bear, I wouldn't go to the wedding either. But we don't even get an explanation as to what happened to him. Did he just sit in his tent the whole time or something? Why were they even getting married in the first place? Usually these arranged marriages have a reason behind them, but this tribe could care so less for the sake of happily ever after that they don't even address it. This movie didn't even think at all. There are so many questions I have left. God, it's so... Brother Bear 2 is so freaking stupid. And despite how stupid it is, it's actually probably one of the better sequels. I don't know if I put it in the top 10, but probably 15. Despite all of its shortcomings, there is a lot to admire, and plus, given the first Brother Bear film, this isn't that much of a downgrade. I mean, it's worse, but the first movie was kind of just okay to begin with, so this movie kind of just falls into that forgettable, mediocre territory. It's stupid, but mostly only in the beginning and at the end. And everything involving the Moose Brothers. Outside of that, it's mostly just a really bland and standard adventure film filled to the brim with every adventure/romance cliche you can imagine. Sure, the movie looks nice, it has great backgrounds and good use of color and stuff, but that's about all there is that's actually good in this movie, and it's Disney, so of course it's gonna be good. Now, I know I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but again, this movie could have at least been decent if Nita and her father were a part of Kenai's tribe, and it included Kenai's brother and the original Shaw woman. But as it is, it's at its best mediocre, and at its worst, stupid. Not insultingly stupid, or painfully stupid, but stupid nonetheless. This movie isn't unbearable.
Because it's about...
But it sure does make me say, oh brother. Also, I hate all moose now, so thanks for that. Actually, I take it back. Minnie Moose is cool. He's like the Spike of mooses.